Hello everyone, I hope the notification is going out already. Sunday Adelaja here. Welcome everyone. Who are we welcoming first? Who is going to be the first person to greet? Bill Muna Prosper. Hello sir. Blessings. Charles Uche. Blessings. Fabien Muji. Noah Folare. Charles Uche Emmanuel. Kemi Shola Bimbola Abikosh. Adetoro, Laulu, Ibrahim, Ludovic, Dora, Michael Eze, Jake Oke, Binta, Vida from London. Blessings to you all. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Who is the next person? Maraizu Ikeshuku, Lola Shoronke from Los Angeles, Oluwatoyin, blessings. Shegun Lawal, Nkiro Jimadu, Ellen, Didi, Kike, Esther, Hope Alive, Geleta Hayato, Ajile Yebolare, blessings, welcome. Charles Smith, welcome, Charles Smith. All right, we have to begin to share the links. Please, let's go ahead and share the link. If you have not shared the link yet, please go ahead and get started. Look for your share button and let's begin to share the link right now so that we could get the word out to all our friends and everybody there. How are you, Eric from Cameroon? How are you, Paul from Ivory Coast, Abidjan? Gift, blessings. Humphrey, Kadu, Patson, Alpha from Kiev, wow. Blessing, Joseph, Shidi. Well, yeah, just Michelle George from California, George, Kazim, Ahmed, Kate. Well, you know, there's so many of you to welcome. So let's just go and bless God for today. Father, we thank you for today. We pray that you bless this program. You speak to your people. You cause your spirit to minister to us. You cause your spirit to talk to everybody in their need in the name of Jesus. Let your wisdom come forth and let us get solution in all our situations. In Jesus' name, amen. Francesca Graziano, that's Italiano. Good evening, Pastor Sunday from America. My country, Milan, Italy, loves you. You are a blessing to all of us. Thank you. Gloria from Texas, blessing. Moses from, Lucky, Grace, Lopez, Amos, Kingsley, Gloria, Lena. Well, are you interested in knowing the topic for today? The topic of today is how to start repaying your debt. How to start paying your debt. Practical steps. Practical steps on how to start paying your debt. You know, many people own something or the other. Many people are in debt, like we know. And if you are one of the people in debt, get ready. I want to give you some wisdom today on how to go about dealing with your debt and how to go about beginning to pay for your debt. When you have debt, we already told you where you should get the money from that you are going to use to pay your debt. That's what we spoke about in the morning. You know, but how do you begin to do it? How do you begin? How do you start the process of repaying your debt? Either you own money to people, or you own money to bank, or you own money to credit card companies, or stores credit card, or something like that. Whatever your debt might be, whatever the nature of your debt might be, it doesn't matter who you are owing. How do you begin to pay back your debt? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. How to start repaying your debt and practical steps on how to start repaying your debt. Number one, the first thing you should know is that when it comes to debt, the effort or the attempt of the why debt is really bad is because debt removes you or deprives you of your freedom. Debt deprives you of freedom, the God-given freedom that God has given to all of us. God has given all of us freedom from heaven. But when you go into debt, you actually sell out your freedom. You sell out your liberty. You sell out to debt, because the Bible says that he that is a borrower is a slave. Is a slave to the lender. So when you borrow, you sell yourself out to the person whom you have taken the money from. So when it comes to debt, the most devastating thing about debt is that it deprives you of your freedom. And then after that, you begin to lose your peace. It deprives you of your peace as well. And then you begin to lose you begin to have fear. You begin to get worried because you are thinking, okay, when will they come for the money? Maybe anybody is trying to call you, you think it's the creditor that is calling you. Anybody trying to knock on your door, you think it's the person you are owing money that is knocking on your door. So you lose your peace of mind. Then you begin to worry. Then you lose your harmony with yourself, harmony with your neighbors, harmony with God. And then you begin to experience fear. And then you begin to get agitated. So the reason why you must pay back your money, why you must pay back the debt that you owe, is for you to get your freedom back. We all need that freedom. It is devastating for you to be walking and living under the burden of debt. So freedom, it is for the sake of your freedom that you need to begin to pay your debt. You need to take responsibility and say, you know what? I must get set free from this thing. I don't want to be walking the street and keep on looking behind my shoulder and look behind my spine and be seeing if anybody is looking for me and chasing after me. It's a terrible kind of life. It's a terrible lifestyle. So for that not to happen to you, you need to take responsibility. So I want to give you some principles now, what you should observe. I'm going to give you some steps. What are the steps you need to take to begin to pay your debt? Now, there are different kinds of debt, like I said. The first one I want to deal with, first principle. If you happen to be owing your co-workers or your employees, there's sometimes that's a very ugly situation when the director is borrowing money from his workers. Or the chief, in our country we say the oga is borrowing money from the subordinate. That is so embarrassing. So what you want to do is that if you happen to fall into that kind of category and you are owing money, but most of the cases when the director or the boss is owing money, it's not because they borrow money from their subordinates. It's because they are not paying their salaries. That's normally what happens. Then the directors and the company owners and the business owners will begin to say, well, the business is not going well, things are not so nice, and we don't have money now, so I cannot pay your salary. That is one of the horrible form of debt you could imagine. If you are in that kind of situation, that carries with it shame. And when you are supposed to be the director, when you're supposed to be the king, when you're supposed to be the prince, and then now you have to be at the mercy of your own subordinates, of your own workers. That is so shameful. That carries a lot of shame and disgrace. And debt is slavery. And can you imagine the director, the king, being a slave to his subjects? The director being a slave to his workers. The business owner, being a slave to his employees. That is absolutely devastating. That is absolutely devastating. Morally, it just kills you. So that's what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say is that if you owe money to your subordinate, you want to start with that. So even if you are owing money to another 10 categories of people or 20 categories of people, one of the first ones you need to put on your priority list is repaying back the people who are subordinate to you, or who you don't want people who will devour you. You don't want people who will laugh at you, people who will make jests of you, people who are subordinate to you, who are supposed to be looking up to you, people you are supposed to be teaching. That's so painful. People who are supposed to be leading, people who are supposed to be teaching, when it gets to the point that now they are the ones running after you and demanding for money from you and demanding that you pay them back their money. You want to get that behind your back. So wisdom says that the first principle of paying loan back, of paying your loan, is to settle people who are lower than you, people who are your subordinate, people who are who are under you. Like, for example, if you're a pastor and you are owing money to your church members, that's a shameful thing, and that's very painful. And I feel for you, really, because I just know that, I know how terrible that looks like. And they begin to talk. The talk itself is very devastating. The talk itself about you and your family is just damaging. It's just damaging. And the thing with people who are subordinate, who are under you, is that they will not keep it secret. They go to talk to other people, and they go and explain and begin to tell that and tell different people about your behavior, and everybody begin to say, how can you, a pastor, behave like that and all that? So nobody wants to know your situation. Nobody wants to put themselves in your place or in your state of mind. Nobody cares actually what your situation is. Everybody only cares for their situation. So when it comes to debt, start with people who are your subordinate or who are under you. Or the people you lead, if you owe them money, start with them. If you are a pastor, if you are a leader, pay those people first. Pay them first. Let them go and explain things to them, ask for their forgiveness, and settle them first. If you cannot settle them immediately, you remember what I told you? The principle is that you only use 20% of your money, 20% of your salary or your income to pay debt. So that 20%, you could say, you have to have a plan. Maybe you could say, okay, the first 3 months, I'm going to pay these people that are under me. So start with them. And then, so your 20% is going to them. But if you still have time, of course, if you still have time, then maybe you could use that money to, do some investment, make the money grow. And if you still have time, you can, maybe you have half a month, or half a year or a year, you could use that time to go and do some business with that money. But you must still keep on putting away that 20%. Let it be growing. And even if you are not paying now, even if the deadline that you have is not arrived yet, but still keep on putting the money aside, so that it will not be a shock to you when when the time comes and you don't have any money. But if you begin to put the money aside, 20% each month, at least you have something to begin to tell them, and you could begin to settle them little by little. But start with those people who are your subordinates, who are under you, or who are your members, or who are your followers. Okay, so that's the first principle when it comes to debt payment, when it comes to paying your debt. The next principle you want to follow, the next principle is it's a horrible thing when you owe money to your relatives. It's a horrible thing when you owe money to your relatives or to your very close people. Somebody is asking here, Ogeshi, is it good to borrow? I will not go into that anymore because I've spoken about that this week. So you need to, last week, today is Monday, I think. Yeah, last week, the whole of last week I was talking about that. So go back to the recordings. If you go to my blog, SundayAdelajablog.com, you will see all the recordings of these, my teachings. You can go to video blog, Pastor Sunday's video blog, and you will see the old recordings where I've mentioned and I've spoken about if it is good to borrow or not. Another person was saying, don't borrow money to pay off your debt. It makes no sense. Yeah, I spoke about that yesterday, actually. So you could go and see the old recordings as well, and you will see my response to that question also. So, the next people that you want to settle, if you owe money, is make a list of the people you owe, and find out if in that list you have people who are your relatives, who are your family members. There is nothing that kills family relationships like money. Like nothing that kills family relationship like debt. Family members, there is something they call blood vengeance. If your blood people, if your blood people are angry at you, and if they are seeking to take vengeance on you, that could be deadly. That could really be deadly. So you don't want money to be the cause of conflict or of discord in your family and in your relative. Family people and people who are your relatives, you should value your relationship. One of the most important things in life is relationship. And that relationship should start with your family, because you are the same blood. Even though, people, that's where you have the most conflict, your family, but you don't want to start that conflict, and you don't want money to be the reason for that conflict. But, really, our family members are the people who are supposed to value most. We're supposed to value our people most. Okay, Bulus Alexander is saying, good evening, Pastor. Can the message be transcribed for us on PDF platform? To transcribe my message, that takes a lot of time. Someone has to sit down and, stenograph them and, type them and all that. That takes a lot of time. That takes about, that could take up to 8 hours to do just one. So instead of transcribing it, what we have decided to do is to do a podcast for you, because we know that people in Africa, it's costing money for them to be able to watch video. Like here, it doesn't cost anything. You can do for free any amount of video you want to watch. But some people in Africa were telling me, especially in Nigeria, that they have to buy megabytes. Megabytes for video? I couldn't believe it. Why should you buy megabytes? But that's what they say. They say you have to buy megabytes. I didn't know what is megabyte. They say that's the way that's the way things work in Africa. Well, that they are just exploiting those poor people. It's so sad. It's so sad, because that's the poorest continent, and they are still making them to pay for video, to watch video. I can't understand that. They said it's not just video. Anything you use in the computer, you have to have megabytes. I said, why? Everything is free here. With the internet is free. In my house here, I don't even pay anything for internet. I just have the router in place. That's all. And I have out of 50 people living in this house. Nobody pays anything. You just have your internet, your Wi-Fi. That's all. But so because of the people in Africa have decided to do to convert all this into audio, all this my teaching, all this my video, will convert them to podcast. And what I was told is that podcast the audio is not so expensive. And someone was asking me yesterday also if the podcast and the audio could be put on WhatsApp. I think yes, you have to put them on WhatsApp. Why not? But the video to put on WhatsApp will be too expensive for people. That's what I heard. So anyway, the second step, the second principle when you are dealing with debt is to the second principle that you want to follow or you want to do is that you use you go and settle your relatives first. Settle your relative first. Sometimes we don't feel like that. We feel like leaving our relatives for the last. We feel like keeping our relatives and saying they will understand. Yes, they might understand. They might understand for a long time, but God forbid that they get mad at you, and God forbid that you lose trust in them. If they lose your trust, and if they get disappointed in you, and if they begin to think that you are a traitor and a betrayer, that could go very, very rough. That could go very rough. It's not a good thing to spoil a relationship with people who have been there for you all your life. If these people are your family, they are the closest people to you. They have been there for you all your life. You don't want to spoil a relationship. In fact, anybody who had ever given you a glass of water, or who has ever been good to you, you don't want to mistreat them. And one of the ways we mistreat people is by not paying them money that we owe them, especially since you are the one who asked them for help. You asked them for help when you are in need, and they tried to help you. They came to your aid, they came to your rescue, and now you are not paying them back, or you are mistreating them, or you are not putting them as your priority. That is deadly. That means you are not grateful, and you don't want that to happen to your family members. So the first people you want to pay when you are about to pay your money, you want to pay your debt, is to pay the people that are under you, your subordinates. Then the next people on your priority list should be that you want to pay off your family members. You want to keep your relationship intact. You want to let them know you are serious about the relationship with them, that you value relationship with them, that you value the way they feel, that their feelings are important for you, and that you want to make them, your priority. And if they now say that no, they want to help you and that you should pay other people first, yeah, that's another thing. But let them know your intention to pay them first and to put them as your priority. Let them know that you value them and that they are important to you and that you want to really make them your priority in paying their debt. So, so settle the debt of your family members. Number 3, the next thing you want to do is if you, for God forbid, but this could happen to God forbid, but this could happen that maybe you owe money to disenfranchised people, like disadvantaged people. But if you happen to be owing money to disadvantaged people, disenfranchised people, like maybe you are owing money to to old people, pensioners, grannies, grandfathers. Maybe you owe money to invalids, like what do you call it, the handicaps, people who are handicapped, people who have some kind of infirmity or the other, someone who is sick, someone who is dying of cancer, vulnerable, people who are vulnerable. So look in the list of people you owe money to. Is there any one of them that is really vulnerable? So if someone is sick and you are owing money to them, you want to make them your priority. If someone is, handicapped, and you are owing them money, you want to do something about it. If someone is a widow or a widower and you are owing them money, please, you want to put them at the top of your priority. You want to pay them first, because those things attract curses. If you are owing orphans, someone that doesn't have a father or doesn't have a mother who is struggling in this world, you'd want to put them as your priority. You want to minister to them. You want to, just beg them to forgive you, and you want to go and settle them as fast as possible. If you are owing money to people who are, who are struggling in life, who are poor and who are dejected, you also want to pay them also. I remember I had an experience like this when I was growing up. I know how this was very destructive. I was growing up in my village, and my grandmother was, I was living with my grandmother because I didn't know my father, I didn't know my mother. So my grandmother then fell sick. She fell sick, and I was 15 years old. But before she got sick, I had learned from her how to survive. And what that means is that, we are going to the bush, to the forest to get firewood. And so that was one business that she was doing. And felling firewood and drying them and going to sell in the city is a horrible kind of work, because sun in Africa is terrible. And you have to go some kilometers into the bush and be looking for the trees and be going to fell the trees, and then going to cut them, slice them, then expose them to the sun, and then carry them on your head, then carry some kilometers back to the house, get them packed accurately, then take them to the city. And that's what the old woman used to do, and that's what I used to do with us from when I was 6 years old. And so I was good in that business already, and I knew that was the only way to sustain ourselves. And these things, because the money was being used for cooking. The firewood was being used for cooking, and used for So anyway, but it was not just a little. They don't pay you much with that kind of business model. So for me, just for you to have an understanding of how tedious this was, for me to be able to buy a pen, I needed to go to the market with those kind of firewood at least for a week to just buy a pen and a pencil. Then for me to buy a book or a textbook or an exercise book, I needed to do that for 2 weeks or so. Then for me to be able to buy a uniform, I needed 3 months. 3 months every day, going to the bush to get firewood and going to sell them, going to the market. 5 o'clock in the morning, wake up and go to get the firewood. Then go to the market and then come back before 8 o'clock. Then 8 o'clock you have to resume in school. So this was the kind of business I was doing. So when my grandmother got sick, I was the only one left in the village, and I needed to survive. So the firewood was not enough to sustain me. So I went to the end of the village and asked for 3 plots of land. So the firewood, you don't need a plot for that. Just go to the bush to get it. So that's easy. But I needed 1 plot of land to begin to plant cassava. Cassava was a good business. That place was growing. I mean, you could sell it at any time. So I would dry it, make gari out of it, and go and sell the gari. So that is another business I was doing. That was my second business. Then I had another plot of land for planting my maize. What do you call maize again? Corn. So I was planting the maize and the corn. So it was a whole plantation, 1 acre of land for cassava, 1 acre of land for maize, and then I had another acre of land for cocoa yam, they call it. I don't know if there's anything like that, but I think that's what they used to call it. Not really yam, not a big yam, but this was cocoa yam, they call it, smaller yam. Anyway, so I had those 3 plots of land, and then I still had my firewood business. And I was 15 years old, 13, 12, 14, 12, 15. Then this, my uncle, I mean, he was married, he was having 4 kids. He would come back from Lagos, and he discovered that I was working hard. Everybody in the villagers were praising me, because before my grandmother got sick and went to before she got, sick of cancer, and then she never came back. So I was surviving by myself. And he got to know that the whole village was praising me, that I had money and I didn't have money, but not really. Just enough for me. I was trying to save money for my school certificate, because in the next 2 years or 3 years, I was going to do my, what they call, school graduation. They call it WAEC in our place. And I needed 50 naira for that. So on one occasion, I had saved 10 naira. And this brother my uncle came and said, how much do you have? I said, I have 10 naira saved. And I was going to 50. He said, I said, no problem. He said, oh, you give me this thing, I just need it. I will go to back to Lagos. I will just come back. I will just, bring the money to you, don't worry. That whole week, he didn't come back. Second week, he didn't come back. 1 month, he didn't come back. 2 months, he didn't come back. 3 months, he didn't come. Then when he started coming back, he didn't come with money. And I didn't have any money, so I started going to the bush again. Started doing my work. So I did another one. And because he was my senior, he was like 40 years old, I was just 15. So he was like bullying me. Not bullying me, but talking in a way, that I didn't have the emotional power to tell him no. Because he was my uncle, he was my brother, I respected him. And he was, a married man with children, and he was in Lagos, I was in the village. So the next time he came back, I told him that, I'm waiting, but he said, oh, do you still have money? But because I will now come and bring everything together. And I couldn't lie. I didn't know you couldn't lie. They were always telling you not to lie when you were growing up, you see. I was afraid of lying. So I told him the truth, that I still had money. I made another money. After 1 year, I came back. So the second year, he took another 10 naira from me. Anyway, by the time I finished, my school, 2 years or 3 years later, I needed to pay 50 naira for my school cert, and I didn't have money to pay for my school cert. They had to put me, they have to put me out. I couldn't pay for my WAEC. And the exams were going on, I was just stranded. You cannot believe how devastating that is. How devastating that is. I would have remained in that village up till now, because I couldn't pay for my WAEC. No mother, no father, no relative, nobody they have to pay for me. So, just recently I discovered who paid, that it was a distant relative, because I didn't even know how eventually they allowed me into the exam room. They said someone had paid from another city. And because they heard that this guy is so doing well, but he doesn't have money to pay. And they were putting him out. Not only me, but a lot of us, they were put out of class, not to be able to sit for the exams. But it was later on I discovered how that one of our distant relatives had my predicament and paid. You don't want that kind of thing to happen to you. You don't want that kind. It's a bad blood something, especially when you are doing it to disadvantage people. You don't, when you mistreat orphans like that. Because in my own case, I was like an orphan. No father, no mother. So it's like God, intercedes for those kind of people. God intervenes for them. God fights for them. So when you try to mistreat orphans or widows, or people who are disadvantaged, handicapped people, you don't want to do that. 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 Okay? You don't want to do that. So anyway, yeah, that is the next. It was that number 3 I gave you, the third priority. Yeah, I think so. Number 4 priority of people that you want to pay your debt to. The people you have to, put in your preference list of paying money to should be people who you need to pay the highest percentage to. The people you need to pay the highest percentage to. Sometimes because of circumstances, it could be that you need to pay. Some people, maybe you took money from them, you don't need to pay any percentage on it. Let's say somebody gave you $1,000 and you don't just need to begin back that $1,000. That's not bad. But another person maybe gave you the same $1,000 and says every month you have to be paying $1,000 and plus $100 every month, maybe from 10% every month, or 1% every month. So if you have an obligation, a debt like that demands you to be paying monthly penalties or monthly percentages, you want to make that your priority as well. Because if you don't pay on time, those percentages will be growing. And soon the percentage will overgrow the debt itself. And then it will never stop. And that will just put you in under a crazy pressure. And it's just going to run you crazy. I mean, it's going to make you to be a slave to that debt. You're going to pay that debt for the rest of your life. You're going to be a slave. You're going to be sold out to the debt. You don't want to do that. So that's why that should be one of your priorities. It should be one of your priorities, okay? It should be one of your... Okay, it should be one of your priorities. So, but you know what? When you are owing money with percentages, I think you should also negotiate with the person that they should agree to let you. They should agree to let you pay not the percentages first, because all of them want you to start paying the percentages first, and that is also very it's demoralizing, and it could be it could be devastating. So tell them that you want to begin to pay the debt itself. You want to begin to pay the original debt, and then maybe afterwards you pay the advantage, because the percentages. Because when you are paying the debt, then the percentages are reducing. So that is much better for you. But most people want to say, okay, pay the debt. Pay the percentage first and then the debt. But you have to tell them either I will not pay at all. If you don't want me to pay at all, okay, then I will, I will not pay. But if you want me to pay, this is what I can pay. I want to pay the body of the credit or of the loan first, and that's better for you. That's better for you. So yeah, many people are writing about my uncle. The funny thing about life is that uncle now, I'm still the one going home to support them, to support him, because of course he's not successful. He's wretched and poor in the village there. He's now the one left in the village. And so I have to be going back home to support him and his children and all that. People like that don't make it in life, and they end up being failures, and they become a burden and a nuisance to the family members. And of course, I shouldn't remember evil. And I couldn't say, okay, because you did that to me, then, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do, you have to repay evil with good. That's what Jesus teaches us to do. So I'm not saying this story just because to bring about anger or, animosity in you, but just to let you know that it could be painful like that when you are defrauding or depriving disadvantaged people. their lives depend on it. Their destiny depends on it. So we don't want to do that. Okay, apart from paying the people that you owe money to, that you need to pay percentages to, the other principle that I would like you to pay attention to is I think let me make one point before I begin to talk about the next principle. A mistake that we all make sometimes is that we make the mistake of paying money or returning the debt of those people who make the most trouble for us, who shout the most. That's what the mistake many people make. We want to pay money to those people who give you more trouble. We want to pay the people who want to shout the most and who are giving you much trouble. And that might not be the best principle to observe. So it's better for you to observe those principles that I gave you and to make those ones your priority rather than paying the ones who shout the most. Because the ones who are shouting the most, they might not be the most needy. They might not be the deprived. They might not be the orphans. They might not be the widows. Because if you are going to just pay the person who shouts the most, and at the end of the day, okay, you settle him and he lets you go, but what about the ones that God himself will fight for? Because when it comes to the orphans and to the disadvantaged and to the widows and foreigners, God begins to fight for them. And you prefer God to fight you or for you man to fight you? Man is nothing. But when God begins to fight you, that's much more dangerous. So that's why those priorities are right. And then your relatives, why do you need to pay them too? You need to pay them because your relatives, they could release a curse on you. And it will be justified because you are at fault. And you don't want blood war to start in your something. So those things are important. But those ones who are just coming and they are the troublemakers, try to, if they are in your priority, okay, please go ahead and pay them. But if you can afford it, yes, go ahead and pay them. But don't make them push you too much. Because you know what happens if you are paying debt to people who only make noise and shout and threaten you and all that, then once somebody else knows that you pay to that person who has threatened you or who has shouted the loudest, then other people begin to come and begin to shout as well. They now know how to get you. So other people begin to come with their own noise and with their own shout, and they begin to threaten you as well. So if you are the one that responds to threat rather than respond to principles, then people will be coming to to threaten you all the time. And just one will be going out, another one will be coming in. So don't make sure that you have your principles in place and follow those principles. 20% of your income you are using to settle your debt, and you settle them by the order of importance. By the order of importance. Now, we have settled with the order of importance. What else do we need to do when it comes to settling our debt? The next thing you want to do is that you want to take the initiative in resolving your debt issue in your own hand. Don't wait until your debtors begin to call on you. Don't wait till your debtors begin to knock on your door. Don't wait till your debtors begin to call you and look for you. That's one of the most horrible things when it comes to debt. And debtors and people who give you money, who loan you money, they don't like that. They don't like it when they are the ones who have to be looking for you. You look at yourself. Can you remember yourself people owing you money and the person is not even showing up and it's not coming up to even say anything. And it's not bringing your money, then it's not, coming to explain. It's not giving you any plan of what he wants to do. And you have to be the one looking for him. And most of the cases, 90% of the cases, the people who owe money, they don't look for you to explain things to you. Normally, it is you, the one that they owe money, that begin to look for them. And you don't want that to happen when you owe people money. If you owe people money, be the one to talk to them first. Be the one to explain things to them, what is happening. Be the one to give them information. Go call them up, explain things to them, what is going on with your situation. Yeah, if you want, you might want to talk to them one by one and tell them that you are aware of what's going on, and you know, and you plan to pay them back their money. And before you meet with them, have a plan. Have a plan, and set a plan for yourself and say, okay, this person I'll be paying this person I'll be paying this. So when you go to that person to talk to him, tell him about your plan, the plan that you are having for him. Tell him when you will begin to pay him. Tell him what amount you want to begin to pay him with, and explain to him why that. Why is it that you cannot pay him immediately? Tell him what is really happening. Tell him about the progress of your business, about the progress of your work. Tell him about the efforts you are making and the work you are doing. Tell him you are working 18 hours a day. Tell him that you are working double job or something to pay. That you have them in your mind. You have their interests at heart. That you are working and you are thinking of them, and that and then don't just go to them one time. Go to them every month. Make it a principle. Make it an ongoing thing. So every month, go to them, give them a report of what you are doing, pay them some money if you have it, or give them your plans, or if they allow you to make and multiply the money, then but give them a report, give them an ongoing report. That kind of attitude, it makes you to be in charge. It makes you to be in charge. And when it comes to that, it is always better for you to be the one that is in charge of the ordeal, rather than circumstances being in charge, rather than pressure being in charge, rather than attacks and abuse and conflict being in charge. So you be in charge, and the way for you to be in charge is to put yourself in the place of other people, to put yourself in their own state, and to be able to sympathize with them, to be able to understand where they're coming from, and be able to explain to them that you understand them, and that you are not trying to defraud them, and you are not trying to deceive them, and that you are there for them, and that you are doing your best, and you are not going to let them down. So that kind of understanding even could make them to understand with you and to think with you, and maybe God will even use them to open the door for you next time. Next time they could say, okay, I have maybe they could even propose you another job or some connections, some partnership. Things could happen if you are really sincere and you take responsibility and you are faithful and you are really trying your best to be understanding with people. They could God could use them too. You don't know how God could work. God could use them to actually help you to pay the debt and to come out of those kind of complex situations you are in. Okay, Bernard Agishi says, I now have my freedom from debt, thanks to you. Thank you. Thank God. Thank God. Sharon Miot says, God bless you, Pastor Sunday, for sharing this teaching with us. We will share this with our family, relatives, friends, and our church family. We pay well above what the credit statement says we should pay every month. Yeah, that's why we should go and negotiate with people you owe money. Go and negotiate with them and put your own priority. Make sure you are the one in charge, not the pressure of people that push you in charge, but you are the one in charge. TK Akin says, God bless you, Pastor. You are my inspiration, learning from this program. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. BB Innovation says, is it wisdom to take out a debt consolidation? Is it plan? What is it? A debt consolidation plan? I didn't understand that question. Anyway, so next thing, let's continue. Oh, okay. Is it wisdom to take out a debt consolidation loan? Oh, wow. Well, there is Adedamola that wrote me on that kind of approach yesterday. I don't know if Moron Cages are here. And if Adedamola is here, if he's here, I would have liked him to post that story, that plan that he has, that you could take out such a loan, consolidation loan, to pay for the loans. Adedamola is here. Can you know, the letter you wrote to me, is it possible for you to post it here so that you could help people? That could really help people, really, about, you know, using a cheaper loan to pay for the big or expensive loans that you might have. That might be an exception. Yeah, so Adedamola is going to post it now. It might be able to help you. You know, those are just exceptional cases, but that is also could be helpful under the circumstances. Okay. The next thing you want to do is that you want to take a sheet of paper and a pen and write a list of all the people you owe money. You know, that could include people, that could include credit cards, that could companies, that could include, you know, stock card companies, that could include banks, that could include mortgage. You know, all the people you owe money, just make a list of them. And the next thing you want to do after you have that list is you want to find out in what situation can you negotiate. Under what situation can you negotiate? And you probably want to negotiate, you know, for some of them to defer the payment. If they could defer the payment and, you know, extend the date or the plan of the payment, that would be helpful for them to deter it so that you don't have to pay immediately and you could stretch it out. That might be helpful to you as well. And another thing you want to do after you have that list is to put the priorities of people to pay first, like I just mentioned today. You want to find out who are the people that you need to pay first, before God, first of all. Not the ones that are shouting the most, but make your own list of the people you want to pay. And then bring out the money, find out write out the money, the amount that you have to be using to pay these people on a monthly basis, and then divide up that amount that you have by those people that you need to pay, you know, according to their priorities, according to the priority that you have spoken about today. And then follow your plan. Follow your plan. So, Adedamola, if that was the wrong post, then you just remove it. I think, can you remove it or you cannot remove it? If you cannot remove it, I think I will remove it for you. Okay, I will remove that for you. I just did it for you now. So you need to put the right post now. Yeah. Come on, give us the right one. There is a Nigeria here saying that data plan exhausted, sir. They want me to miss this teaching. God pass them. So the money is over. I'm so sorry. This is terrible oppression in that country. You are not supposed to be watching video by data. It's supposed to be free. Like in any country. In most countries of the world, it's just free. You don't use data to watch video. I'm so sorry. But I'm about to finish anyway. This is about to finish. That's what... Oh, look how they said I was out of data too. Just reloaded. My God. So you have to spend so much money to be watching this. Oh, my. Why don't you go for Wi-Fi? I think you should look for Wi-Fi companies. Wi-Fi shouldn't be by data. So let's see if you could look for Wi-Fi, or you could look for broadband companies. Maybe they should be a little bit more expensive, but I think, wow. So you are saying 200 megabyte per episode. Wow. So each time you listen to me, you are spending 200 megabyte. And how much is 200 megabyte? Could you tell us? Adedamola, I removed your first post already. I did that, but I can't see your second post yet. I can't see the new one. I already removed the one you said was the wrong one, but I need you to put the right one. So how much is 200 megabyte? So per episode, because Kayode is like someone who never misses any of my episodes, 2 times a day. So 2 times a day you are paying 400 megabyte, money for 400 megabyte every day. That is crazy. That is just crazy. I have data on 3 phones, including Wi-Fi, and 400 megabytes every day just to watch my video. My God, you are very dedicated. God will have to compensate you one way or the other. Wow, that's from Port Harcourt. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. One of the things that people who owe money do is that they break relationship with people they are owing money, or they are running away from them or hiding from them. Don't do that. Don't play the hide and seek game. Don't hide. Don't hide from people. Don't hide from people, and go ahead and someone is saying here, if you are in Nigeria, Kehinde Andu said, let them go and buy Smiley Wi-Fi for 12,000 naira. I don't know what that means. Smiley Wi-Fi. What does that give you, Smiley Wi-Fi? What is the advantage in that? Smiley Wi-Fi for 12,000 naira. Okay, I don't know what that means. Maybe Nigerians will understand what that means. Anyway, so don't break relationships with people. Don't run away, because if you begin to play that game of running away or hiding, people will know something is wrong with you, and they will begin to suspect that you don't want to pay in the first place. Then the next thing that I would like to advise you to do is, if you are owing a bank, always negotiate with the bank. But when you are opening your negotiation with the bank, don't negotiate with the clerks and don't negotiate with the managers. Go to the head of the bank if possible. Go to the president of the bank, to the managing director of the bank, to the decision makers of the bank. And one of the things that you want to negotiate with the bankers about, not just the banks, but banks, credit, when you are owing institutions like banks, credit card companies, utility companies, and things that are institutions and companies, try to go and negotiate with the owners and the people, decision makers, and you know exactly what you need to negotiate about. Negotiate about them canceling your percentages. Tell them you are a God-fearing citizen and you are law-abiding citizen, and that you want to obey the law, you want to pay your debt. But tell them about your situation, tell them about circumstances you are in, and tell them about the effort you are making to pay the debt. And also tell them that if you are going to be paying the percentages, that you will never get to paying the debt, and that will be too much on you. So if they don't want to bankrupt you, and in which case if you are bankrupt, they will never get their money back, that they should really try to understand you. And the way they should understand you is to reduce your percentages or to cancel your percentage altogether. If they can reduce your percentage or cancel your percentage altogether, that you will try your best to abide by the plan. Then you give them a plan and tell them, this is the plan I'm having. I have this plan to pay you back, and if you help me, I will abide by this plan. I will make sure that I don't default on my plans. And most banks might not agree for the first time, but when they see that you are coming, and you are serious and you are consistent about what you are doing, most of those institutions might begin to give you some variants or options of how to meet your needs. So make sure that you open conversation with them with understanding, not with threat or threatening them or fighting them, but just with understanding. And so in that case, owing institutions might be better a little bit than owing individuals, because individuals are emotions and all that. Institutions are also dangerous, especially those ones who like to send you some bandits and some criminals to go and collect their money. But they do that when you don't open up conversation with them. When you open up conversation, that's much more better. Olukayode Kundayo is saying, I have the Smiley Wi-Fi already, but not efficient. I got 20 gigabytes at 17,000 and used it up in less than 2 months. Wow. Ibrahim Bello say, in their country, they have free video, even Wi-Fi. Or what? Free video in other countries, even Wi-Fi. I subscribe 10,000 for 30 gigabyte on SpectraNet every month. I don't understand what that means. Anyway, I don't. Maybe that's Nigeria. Maybe not. I don't know. Well, Kunle Ajala says, I'm glad you are raising this issue. I already acknowledged that it is easy to make judgments about how others manage their money, but I've often looked at the types and amount of debt that some people take on and wonder if they are doing the right thing for their families. For example, I see people who finance luxury cars but don't invest in their children's education fund, much less their retirement. It is even more strange when you hear of people financing a wedding. It seems to me that there is a moral element to financial decisions, and from my reading of the Bible, it frequently exhorts the reader to gain master over money. It can be all too easy to let money become an emotion-driven aspect of life. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Thank you. Well, our time is coming to an end. We're almost an hour online. So, and the thing we do before we go is that I want to hear the lessons. I want to read the lessons and hear the lessons that you have learned and you have taken for yourself from this teaching. So please, will you please be kind enough to write your decisions, your lessons, and your conclusions from this teaching? What are the things that you've learned, and what are you going to do? What are the decisions you are going to do? You are going to take thanks to this teaching today. And if you want to know more about the loss of money and how you could best manage your money and money matters in your life, I have my book, Money Won't Make You Rich. It's in Christian stores all over the world and on Amazon. You want to get that. And I have a team that's going to Africa with me, a team of 200 people from Ukraine and 2,000 people from all over the world. We have Japanese going with me. We have Asians going, Europeans going, Caribbeans going, Scandinavians going, Canadians, Americans going with me to Nigeria. We want to go to Nigeria to restore our nation. And I want to take as many people, expatriates, professionals, as many people as possible from all over the world, especially diasporas, to go back to Nigeria with me to be able to rebuild a great nation. I believe in the destiny of that country and in what God has spoken to me. So if you want to, go and make an impact upon Africa and upon Nigeria in particular, you want to join our team, go to my blog, SundayAdelajablog.com. You will see Nigerian Transformation Project there. You could go there and fill out your form and register for the newsletter. We're going to be getting you informed. Or you could write to me to pastor@godembassy.org. That's my personal email, pastor@godembassy.org. And then some of these teachings that we're doing, a lot of people are writing me all the time that we should turn these teachings to books. We should document them. So if you are one of those that you are gifted in writing and you could help to convert some of these teachings to books, because I don't just have the time now because I'm doing so much already. So if you want to help me in doing that, we can, you can get in touch with me as well. Write to me to pastor@godembassy.org. And but that will be, of course, I'll be paying you for that. So if you are gifted in writing, please get in touch, and we'll be happy to get some books out of this. So anybody learning anything? I can't see any comment about what you've learned from this. And of course, don't forget to go and share. The link. If you have not shared the link for this program yet, go ahead to your share button and share the link and get some people to see it. It might be a help or it might be a blessing to somebody. Maybe someone needed this. So let's go share the link, and it might help somebody to help them come out of debt. So who is there? Is there anyone there that wants to share what they have received, what this teaching has done for you? Is there anyone that has been blessed tonight? And is there anybody that's taken any decision about your situation, about your debt? You want to let us see what you are writing or hear what you think? I can't see any comments coming in. I can't believe that people are not writing it. Just maybe, is it my iPad that is not showing the latest comments or what? Let me see. The last comment I'm having here is from Kunle Ajala, and I read that already. Let me see what other people are writing. Akinola Shesi says, good message, sir. But personal integrity is the key needed to return money when you borrow. This is because from experience, people borrow money, but they don't have the genuine intention to repay back. Yeah, well, that's so sad. That's the reality of the life we live in. So sad, but evil people. Oluwasegun says, sir, may God continue to empower you. Thank you. Okay. All right, I think that's all for today. Our time is over, and thank you everybody for joining. Tomorrow morning I will be back again at 9:30 Ukraine time. That is 7:30 Nigerian time, 7:30 British time, 8:30 a.m.